Well, good morning to everybody out there in YouTube land, StreamYard, MRYCG, and all of those whom I connect with on a regular basis. Welcome to Partickhill Station. It's 10 o'clock here in Toronto. It's a sort of typical fall day now. The temperature's dropped off a bit. And I've started early today. It's going to be busy later in the afternoon. And I spent some time doing a setup to make sure that I don't run into any audio-video problems. So, please let me know if you find there's a problem with the audio or the video. So today, the reason for this broadcast is just to let you see some of the developments that have been going on here at Partickhill Station. You may recall, if you've watched any of my recent videos or my comments on the MRYCG Facebook page, that my very good colleague and friend who passed away just over a year ago, I had the task of taking down his massive 20 by 30 layout, which he built himself above his garage. Just a fabulous layout. Anyway, I was up there, excuse me, the other week and set about the task of lifting all of the track, separating it, and then going into the landscape, all the scenery, and breaking it down, cutting up the boards, which was homosot, and then cutting up into sections that I could move, and then dismantling the support structure, which was a sort of trestle type girder thing, really well thought out. Mike was a professional engineer, and he was a great thinker and went about the task of designing and building his model railway with great tenacity and insight, research, until he eventually came up with a layout which all in all took him maybe 5 years to complete. And unfortunately, he didn't have that long after he'd completed it to run it. So it was a great shame that he passed away. So it's an unenviable task to dismantle somebody's layout and then sort out the collection. And I remember a couple of years ago we had discussed succession or cataloguing the collection. And it's something, I've mentioned before, we're all going to have to face at some point. And to make sure that those left behind don't get ripped off, it is really a very good idea to set aside some time to number all your locos, catalogue them, get it on a spreadsheet, print the spreadsheet out, put it in a safe but obvious location, make sure people know where your catalogue is, and that will make life so much easier for them. My friend had dozens of locos that were all digitized. Many of them he did on his own. So good morning, Anfield Road. How's it going there, Lee? And Mark Hamill down, how are you? Good of you to drop by on a Sunday morning. Thought you might be watching the football, but I guess Lee's game was on yesterday. I saw that one. Anyway, I'm just yeah. Hello, Fred. Good to see you on here, and Mark and Lee. So, just talking about this whole thing about breaking down a model railway and then disposing of it. So his wife has removed the collection from the cottage back to the house and is not sure what she's going to be doing with it. But I will be assisting her in whatever way I can to help her get through this. And the big problem here is there are no shows on right now. Anything that was planned has been cancelled. And that's too bad. And, talking of this whole thing about collections and the number of locos that you've got, I started a process of cataloguing. And, I don't have a big layout here. It's approximately 9 feet by 9 feet. And, I've got 2 main tracks running presently, and I've got a third track underway. Plus, I'll have a little end-to-end suburban track coming around from over here, from this station. Yeah, from here, and it'll come around and it'll end up over here by the main station on this side. So, I've got a lot of locos and coaches, and I think I'm going to start selling stuff because I just find I just can't run everything. And some of my prized collections, the likes of the Caledonian Railway single and the accompanying coaches will most likely be going. And then I think I've got those 2 unboxed Harry Potter Backman sets. They're really very nice. So they've been sitting in a closet for a number of years since I bought it, unopened. So I think it's time that they get moved on. And I'm even thinking, I've got 2 sets of the 125. I'll probably sell one of those. And the Coronation Scott with the 9 coaches, I'll probably sell that one too. And it's just because I have too many and I just can't run them. And of course, storage is also the issue. Taking locos and coaches off, putting them away in boxes, and then pulling other locos and coaches out and setting them on the track. It's a lot of preparation, and yeah, it's maybe time to declutter, as they say. Anyway, you're live at 5. Yeah, Leah, I'm going to try and get on there because we've got friends coming over lunchtime. I'm not sure how long they're going to be here. Anyway, so as I said, the one reason why I've got the broadcast going today is if you just look around, you'll see there's a number of changes. Over here, I retrieved all these retaining walls from my friend's layout. And if you go around, let's see if I can do this. Well, there's the setup for the scenery for the Highland church that I posted. I think it was Friday. That too came from my friend's layout, and then I put the scenery on it. And across the back here, it's the same simple retaining wall with arches in it. Simple but effective. So we just do a little tour all the way around. And this station platform, well, my friend made this, and I retrieved it, including the canopy. I thought that would be good for another station. And here's some foam landscaping you did. I may change it colouring and make it grey, sort of Highland granite type thing. Yes, a little bit. Got to make sure these don't run over anything. And there's the tunnel waiting for construction. Now, my bridge that I constructed, I may put it over in this corner somehow. I'll think about that. Maybe that would be a good location for it. So you've seen most of this, and then as I come around, there's another little station that I retrieved. And then these structures, some of them scale scenes for the most part. And then retaining wall with arches in there and a water tank. So it's coming together. And I've been sort of lucky. Well, lucky's not the word. The fact that I was able to use some of my friends' layout and keep it going is definitely a bonus. But just make sure that I don't trip over these wires. Okay, Fred, we'll catch you later. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, new junction. I'm honoured. Wow. I must have done something right. Anyway, how are you, Richard? Yeah, thanks for dropping in. As I said, maybe you never picked up on all of what I said, but basically I'm in the basement here. I've got this layout. It's 9x9. I've got 2 main tracks. I'm adding in a third one, and a suburban end to end. A lot of the scenery that you see, retaining walls, etc. I was able to retrieve from my good friend's layout. He passed away over a year ago, and I had to demolish his layout. So I was able to get all these retaining walls, which are now around the perimeter of the layout. So, and I was just mentioning about cataloging, and Richard, I know you've probably got a load of a loco and rolling stock, and I was just speaking about the importance of making sure that your collection's catalogued, so that those who are left behind at that time, it makes life so much easier for them to deal with a massive collection, and also your friends. Anyway, yeah, I'm just building this up bit by bit. I got a bunch of 3D printed items from Jeff Redmond. They came the long way around because my sister was going to fly over in September, but when she got to the departure desk, they refused her boarding rights because she was missing 2 documents. One was the ETA, which is the authority to travel document, which gets attached to your passport, and the other one was the original receipt for the COVID test. She had a copy of it. I don't know why she didn't have the original receipt. Anyway, she was refused boarding at the last minute. So what I had done was I'd ordered a few things from a couple of shops, including Jeff Redmond, and asked them to post them up to Glasgow to my sister, and she would bring them over. That was the easier way to do it. Little did I know she wasn't going to be able to get on the plane, and as a consequence, she had to mail them. So I've just received them in the last week, and I'll be going through them, sorting them, and and painting them, and getting them on the layout. And some of the things that I've been after is more crew. Because I feel that every loco should have a driver and fireman. All right, Mark. Not that mine is worth much at the moment, but I will be organising a list of stuff on my layout when I rebuild it in a few weeks. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Because there are no certainties in life. And I was in the boys' brigade, and this. Or think about the girl guides. Be prepared. I'm not saying that anybody out there is a girl guide, but it's a good idea to be prepared for any and all events. So, just thought I'd let you see. Here are the Caledonian Coaches. It's sort of 2 different colours, white and cream and grey because they were issued at 2 different times. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'll get another coach. That'd be 6 in total. And there's the Caledonian Railway single. You know, it runs quite well, but it just has trouble getting over the point sometimes. There's a kind of sweet spot that it enables it to get through. And here's one of the Ringfield motor driven locos that I'm testing, because I was able to get 4 of those brass cogs. And if you remember, Barry Davis has done some videos on these cogs, and I had trouble with a few of my A4s, and they were squealing like banshees. Anyway, that's the solution, other than, you know, continued service. So the buses and trolley buses up there in the main street are all from Glasgow. Given that I'm from Glasgow, and Partickhill Station is in the west end of Glasgow, it's only 1 or 2 stops from Model Rail Scotland down by the river. And that's a Glasgow fire engine also. And, you know, there's the flowers and flower boxes that Rob Johnson sent. I actually added those flowers in. I got them from an art store. They worked out fine. And there's a little Lima diesel. It works really well. And I'm going to continue weathering it, maybe put some striping on it. Yeah. So I made a complete video about the Highland church and how I constructed it, and I think I followed up with some sketches with dimensions on it. Yeah, and as I said, pity about COVID. I guess you guys over in the UK are now able to get out and about, and I think there was Finnerton Central was going to a show yesterday and today. I'm sure we'll hear all about that. Excuse me. Yeah, Mark, it's just nice to share what I'm up to and what my plans are, and just share some information. Like, see if you see this, like that there. You may have seen this before, but that's from a printer. So if you see any old printers lying around, scoop them, because they've got all these fantastic bits and pieces. And there's a variety of styles and types that you can use to to add to your layout for loads. And in fact, there's one there. I'm just going to see if I can get this one up. Yeah, so I scooped them from a printer and stained them a little bit or weathered them a little bit, and then I added some chains on them. You know, you can get those chains at the dollar store. So that's a simple but very useful little addition to any layout, and it costs nothing. That's my 3D printed buffer stop that I painted up. My 3D printer's been out of action for the last while because the nozzle was blocked, and I'm in the process of trying to clear it up so that I continue printing, because I modelled some relay boxes and I want to get them printed and get them placed around the layout. So that buffer stop, I actually just downloaded it from somebody else, and I've used it to populate the layout, and I gave some away to friends. So all good fun. And if you don't use any 3D modeling tools, you know, I'd suggest, if you were interested, that you start off with Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a very basic 3D modeling tool, and it's basically a sphere, a cube, and a cone, and you can take those three elements and make them into anything. And then all you have to do is find a 3D printer. And I'm fortunate here because the libraries all have 3D printers and laser cutters and all kinds of stuff. And I was over at one of the libraries yesterday, and I gave them a file for my the model that I made of the relay box. So they're going to test it. They'll send me a note today just to let me know if it's okay, and then I'll have them print a dozen, and I'll be charged a small fee per gram. So, you know, that way it enables me to get something printed while my printer is broken. So here's the my Hornby Virgin. You can see that there. Yeah, maybe you see one on this one. The Pendolino. So, cut a long story short, I'm now going to be contacting Lendon's to get this card and the motor on order so that I can replace them, because they seem to have shorted out, burnt out, whatever. And I've done a bit of testing, and that seems to be the case. Not sure how it happened, but it did. And so for track cleaning, this is from Mr. Clean. I've mentioned this before, and I got it from the dollar store, and it works really well. As you can see, it's picked up a load of dirt from the tracks. Very easy to use. It doesn't scar or scratch the rails. Well, I guess if you have it in the garden, unless you're heating it, it might be a bit chilly in the winter or damp. If you can get that pink or blue styrofoam insulation, I would line all your walls and roof with the insulation board. That'll keep you a little bit drier and toastier. And if you go to the loft, if your loft is insulated, you're okay. But from what I see with other guys out there, in the summer it's too hot sometimes, and in the winter it's too cold. So you've got to find that happy place. Here in Toronto, we have basements, and the basements, if you finish them, they're insulated. So I'm sitting down here. Across the hallway is the furnace room, which is a gas furnace, and it blows hot air through the house, or air conditioning in the summer. So I get the best of both worlds, and I don't really have to worry about I don't have to worry about the thing expanding or contracting, because it's kind of constant temperature. Well, that's good, Lee. Yeah, I think I did see some insulation there, which will certainly make life comfortable for you. So I've been servicing a lot of my locos one by one, just giving them a general clean up, bit of oiling, and I did that with the blue Pullman and the grey Pullman, which I have, and so it runs so much better. You got one in the loft and one out of the loft. Now that sounds like a quiz. Maybe you can elaborate on that. And the other thing I found was, when the last little while, I was having lots of trouble. I'll maybe just turn around here. I was having lots of trouble with points, with all kinds of locos stalling, derailing, etc. And it was very annoying and embarrassing, especially when I was doing one of these broadcasts. So I went through the process of disconnecting many of the points, especially those that were giving me a problem, and then realigning them. As a result, I've got so much better running. Now, the first one that got fixed was over here. If any of you remember, I had a point in here. Now I've removed that, and I've added in this additional track. But I've given this crossover here. It will enable the down track to get into the storage areas back here, and then I have to figure the rest out. But this has made it so much smoother running back here. And, you know, stuff like this, nice little controller. I'm going to be installing that soon, and I might use it on sort of suburban track that will come around here over to the station and then back again. I'm waiting on one of those little components coming from China that will enable me to do that, the automatic reversal. And for those of you, just another little tip, let's just get this one. For those of you that are into weathering, I bought this on eBay or Amazon. It was $20 for those 3 little squares. Well, as some of you know, I do a bit of artwork, and I have pastel crayons, and you know, I found that if I scrape them up into powder and then use cotton wool, I can get the same effect so much cheaper. So if you're weathering anything, just go to the dollar store and see if you get any pastel crayons, like chalk, or go to an art store and get them. They're not that expensive, but it'd save you a lot of money, and you'll get larger quantities for your dollar. You get 2 layouts. Okay, so you've got one in the loft, Lee, and where is the other one? That is the question. I think some of you saw, I'll get this on screen here. Yeah, I think some of you saw the oil diesel station that I built here. Really simple. Anything you find you can add on to make it look as if it's a component. And then I got these refilling centers from, you know, a friend of mine. And somewhere, yeah, there's another tank that I made. Toilet roll might do it, but they're a bit flimsy. You're better off using something that came in a tube from Amazon or an art store, wherever. And then just filling in the end with a piece of card paint it, and then you're done. Oh, you got it in the spare room. Oh, well, that's good. So is it two different types of layout? You're running different liveries in the two places. So as I said, I've got a number of 3D printed models that I've got to get cracking on, and also my Cricut maker. You know, I tried using it, but didn't have any success because I think it just had the standard blade. I couldn't get it to cut any of the materials I was trying to use. So I've located the sort of heavy duty cutter for the thicker materials, and I've got a couple of ideas for some buildings that I'll sketch out and then put into the Cricut maker and cut them up, and then I can assemble them and you know, put papers on them wherever. One of which I was thinking of copying my Glasgow tenement building there. I scratch built that one, but it'd be a perfect candidate to be used by the Cricut maker. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Okay, Lee, one's 26 feet and one is 8 feet. So I'm assuming the 26 feet is in the attic and the 8 feet is the spare room. And you're on the same stock on both. That's great. So a few shout outs. Barry Davis, of course. Always enjoy watching Barry's latest videos here in the morning. Remember, we're 5 hours behind the UK. So I get to watch Barry Davis's latest videos, which are always phenomenal. I learn so much there. And Alan in the Loft, he's traveling right now. And I haven't seen his latest one, but I'll get to that hopefully the next day or two. And a big shout out to Champs123. Just got something fall over there. Yeah, so Chams123, he's selling off all of his stock, and he's got some pristine, excellent locomotives, coaches, you name it, he's got it. Many rare pieces. So he's selling everything, and they're all on eBay. So if you're looking for something special, you know, you should check him out. I've spoken to John a couple of times, and actually bought a wheel set for the EM2 that I've got, and I think you still get a few of those turned, remachined wheels that will help make some of your older locos run better. I think you still get a few of them for sale. And I always like going back into Champs 123 and checking out his videos, because they're all great. And you know, he got me onto this converting the Triang R965 controller, and I did it successfully. And so if you watch his videos on it, or even mine on my channel, you'll see the process I went through, and John demonstrates how well and smoothly his locals run using these R965 modified controllers. So he advocates doing this as opposed to going digital. You know, going digital at this point would be a financial hurdle. I'm not sure if I really want to get into that. If I'm happy with the way things are going, I won't do it, but I've got a digital controller and I've got a couple of chips, and I was thinking of making a devoted line for a digital local. Anyway, I'm still thinking about that. So here's something else I want to show you. Is this paper here. Now, you can't see it very well, but it's kind of waxed, shiny, smooth and soft. And I'm not really sure if I got it from a shoebox or some other package, but this is what I was able to do with it. This is the same piece of paper that I painted green, and I gave it a number of coats of acrylic paint, and it folds over perfectly. And then, you know, it can unfold again, and then you can drape it over, cut it to size. So you might want to have a look at that. And let me just get this here on. Yeah, so there's the paper as I got it, and there's, I mean, I can crunch it up and then open it up again, and it looks perfect. And it's got that fabric feel about it, and that's a result of painting it with the acrylic paint. So that's another little tip. Now, you might have saw that. That's a lamp hut. Now, I made that lamp hut from I made my own corrugated steel with a tool that I bought from Brunel Hobbies in Melbourne, Australia. At the time, all they had was the HO 187 scale size ones. So I bought it anyway. And this little tool enables you, it's a two-piece thing, a male and female part, and you put your heavy tin foil in it, and then you basically score out the grooves and it looks perfect. But the problem was the plastic's kind of brittle, delicate, and I broke the little mail tool. It snapped right off. Well, I tell you, Brunel, when I contacted them and explained what happened, they kindly offered to send me their new 1:76 scale tool set if I paid for the postage. Postage is about $16 or more, but it's worth it. It'll enable me to do other things, but that's a great looking little building. I'm not sure how well it shows up for you. But I'll offer that as another example. That is what would be called an Anderson shelter. Now, in the UK during the Second World War, many people had one of these in their backyard. So when the air raid sirens went off, they'd run out in the backyard and get into this air raid shelter. You know, it's probably deeper into the ground than what I show it, but you know, they'd cover the top of it with soil and sandbags. So I just added some. I put a radio antenna on there too. Added in a wheel, and you know, you can see I made that from the tin foil, the corrugated tin foil. It's better than buying the plastic stuff. Mark, what radius curves do you have? Well, I never used a gauge. I never measured them. I just made them as large as possible. I've got these sweeping curves. Let's just have a look. So, you know, there's a joint there, and you know, then it swings around. A nice sweeping curve there, all the way across the other side, and back down, and the same down there. So I maximized the curves as best I could, so that I get smoother running, and it works perfect, and it looks perfect. And for those long coaches, it's much better. So I don't have anything in terms of a curve that gives me a problem. Just for your interest, that little bubble car there, that's from that line Camara or Caramara, whatever it is. I bought a box of those, a variety of vehicles in it. They are 187, but if you place them strategically, they look good. This one here is the original Minix car that came with the Carabelle. I don't have it out with the Carabelle set, and I've got quite a number of those. And hiding in there is a little milk float, which I think is great. And then these others, some of these, that's a Minix, but these are North American vehicles. This one's there. So, it depends where you place them and how it shows up. Anyway, one of my iPhones has gone down. I don't know why, but it does happen, and I can't reach over to get it. Yeah, see, Mark, that's the thing. That's you should make one. You'll get the dimensions online if you search for Anderson shelter. Really simple to make. If you didn't want to use the corrugated iron, although it would give it a sense of realism, use a tube, cut it in half, and then you could put plastic strips on it to make it to simulate the corrugations. But for me, the corrugations look so much better, and that'd be a nice little addition to your layout. Yeah, Lee, I never go DTC. Yeah, you're right, it costs too much. And with the cost of locomotives these days, I just cannot imagine paying that amount of money. Hundreds of pounds. It's just unbelievable. Well, Mark, here's another idea, and you've seen this one. That's the car transporter, and I chopped the top off it, and then I had a Spitfire Airfix Kit that I'd built years back, and I'd seen something in a magazine like this, so I cut it up and put it in there, and added a tarpaulin over the cockpit for effect, and it looks great and very unique. And an Airfix kit is easy to find. You'll find them, brand new. You can find them in the stores. So if you go to a hobby show, I'm sure you'll find them already made up and painted. So you can actually do a number of them with those car transporters, and you should be able to pick some of them up damaged, no problem. At one of the shows, just keep your eyes peeled for it. Shouldn't be an issue. And then, chop them up and chop up your car transporter, and you're all set. Yeah, let me know how you got on with that, and I'd be happy to throw my tuppence worth in for what it's worth. Here's a couple of skips that I got. Funny story about those. I had downloaded a bunch of files, and I knew this guy who lived, 200 miles north of me. And he sent me a note saying, "Oh, Charlie, I've got a resin printer. Do you need anything printed?" And I said, "No, I'm not really sure at this point." But I got back to him and said, "Look, I've downloaded this stuff. Could you print them for me? I'll pay you whatever cost it is." And obviously postage as well. So he did. And that's true of what he sent me. I'm going to paint them up yellow and weather them. But the funny thing was, when I opened the package and I looked through some of the stuff, there was a pillbox, a post box, but it was tiny. And, I think it got confused with the conversion scale of 187% and may have gone the wrong way from the original 1 to 76 down to 1 to 87, and he calculated it wrong. So I got a few things which the scale's not right, but that's okay. It's all part of the process. Yeah, Evernote Junction. I like to watch what he's up to because he's got a lot of good ideas, nice layout, and I'd like to get hold of the STL files for his washers and dryers that he's got in his scrapyard, or at least get dimensions for them, and I'll make my own. Because that's the thing, once you get into the software and you're able to make some things, you're always looking at things that other guys have, how they did it. As an example, the bridge here, Tony Northeastern, wow, what a layout he's got. I'm a big fan of Tony. And, this is not an exact replica of what Tony built, but I just looked at it, sketched it out, and then I made all of it from matboard and weathered it, put some rust on it. So that's how you get things you can add into your layout. Now, I made this one myself from scratch. Didn't base it on anything. I just guesstimated what size it would be, and I used corrugated cardboard for the roof. If you can see that. Right. Let's just see there. So that's corrugated cardboard. Brick paper, spaghetti or plastic tubes for the drain pipes. So you can do just about anything you want. Oh, Flymo, how's it going, Digger? Nice of you to drop by. How is everybody keeping? And for all the builders out there, there's a simple little building. This could be the station master's house, and really simple cardboard, papers, and a bit of weathering. And there you've got another little building. Yeah, Lee, there is absolutely no question that DC is cheaper. And you know, if you just keep them maintained, um, you have no problem. I've got stuff here that's 50-year-old. Like I've got a few Triang Princesses, and they still run great on this layout. You just need to be cleaned up every now and again and oiled, and hey, everything's fine. So I guess it's personal preference, and if you want to have a couple of locos on the same line, then you know maybe you want to go DC, or I guess the other thing is, and I haven't really thought this out yet, but using isolation points and isolating the rails, you'll be able to move stuff around so that you do have more than one train on any particular line. And then I don't want to be repeating myself, but this is another interesting project that I've got going. Some of you have seen it before. This is an old Triang Princess body. So I added a double chimney and extended the cab. Got a weight on it here, and that's going to be the turbo. Just haven't got around to finishing it off. But you know, that's just another little hobby. Yeah, the Flymo. Yeah, I've got Hornby Princesses. But, you know, got the Triang Princess too. It's around here somewhere. Actually, I've got quite a number of them in various stages of disrepair. When I first started into the hobby, I bought a few of them because they were cheap and they looked nice, and I didn't know any better. But yeah, they look good and they run good. As long as you don't get those clunky ones with the solid wheels, you can always change the wheels out. Now this pulse width modulation, I'm not 100% clear on that. I'm using these WPMs, and I'll show you here, like that one there. So I think I paid, I don't know, $5 or $6 for that from China, and everything runs fine. I'm not sure what's the best, you know, because I do have this Tech 2, and that's running the Pullman. The Intercity is being run by this little thing, and then of course I do have I do have that clipper down there that I haven't used for some time since I bought this little thing here, and then another one there that I need to hook up again. And as I said, the modified R965. Yeah, see, I don't know about these 6000 systems, but these little units I've got, I think that's what they're called, PWMs. Yeah, PWM. Well, just think, Flymo, if you had 8 tracks, well, I think they're great. They don't take up a lot of space and they seem to be reliable. And for the price, the guys at Budget Model Railways, of course, they started printing the boxes for them. Okay, so I can maybe comment on that. What sort of led me to these was Chams 123, because John discovered that he could modify those R965s, and he can have his locos do anything, and he's got Triang stuff going back to the year dot now. Once I got the idea of what you had to do and what they could do in terms of performance, that's when I found the PWMs on the internet. So I've got, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 of the PWM units. Wardle Road, good afternoon. I'm honoured that you've turned up at my station. Well, you're most welcome. So in terms of performance, here we've got a Tech 2. We've got a Tech 2 unit, and as I said, that's running the Pullman. And the Pullman is going at a nice speed there. And then this PWM is running the Intercity 125. So I'm quite happy with the performance all round. Well, of course, they're Ringfield motors. And maybe what I'll try and do here is I'm going to pull out the Caledonian Railways single and see how it'll do. Actually, I'll need to move it. Get a little bit overloaded there, so all right, let's see here. Okay, so here goes. Now there's the Caledonian single on its way around, and as you can see, it runs quite, and that's running on the Tech 2. And then I'll put it onto the other line. Yeah, see, it just hangs up a little bit in the odd point. All right, so now I'll switch over. Okay. And I'm going to pull the 125 into the station for a second. All right. So hopefully this will work. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to check out now because something's come up. So thanks everybody for dropping by and spending a little bit of time here at Partickhill Station. And I hope you found it interesting, and hope to see you again here at Partickhill Station. Thanks very much for dropping by. Bye for now.